Well, as we sit here, Willie, we're looking out at Busch Stadium, and you're here early. A coach's job is never done. What do you enjoy every day about coming to the ballpark? You've been doing it for a long time as a player and a coach.
I have a chance to learn, and a chance to teach, and a chance to compete. So that's what this is all about. It's just I'm here as a coach. I'm here. It's not about me. It's about trying to get these guys, any way we can to be the best they can be every day. And the same for us as coaches.
I'm wondering, how familiar are they with your career? Do you think some of them know? Do you think they look it up?
I don't know. I'm sure they do. They rib me and stuff, but I don't. It really doesn't make me any different one way or another. Like I say, I'm in a mode of a coach now. And I come in every day, even as a coach, as a rookie. As if I don't clean slate. So I can. People can pour into me. You know what I'm saying? I listen to everybody. Much. There's in our in our group, in our organization, as far as that goes, and chew the meat, spit out the fat. So if I think it's something that's going to make me better and make us better, then I'll use it, even if it's a 10-year-old on the street. Hey, Willie, such and such might want to try. Oh, wow, okay. I'm gonna listen. I might mean I might not do it. Even the players, I'll listen to them. Hey, what do you guys like? What do you don't like about what we're trying to do out here, in our realm? And if it's something that's better than what we're already doing, or then that's what we're gonna do. It's not about what I think is right. It's the best way, not my way.
And is it different for you if it's a young guy like Jordan Walker learning the outfield, and then maybe a guy who's played for a number of years and knows what he's doing? Is the approach different depending on their resume?
No, they just gotta. They gotta get out there and work at it. You just gotta work at it, man. It's like Yeppe now and Burleson. These guys are infielders, and they go out there and they work at it, man. And that's So I got their back. I mean, they work hard. I got you. To that point, and I think that's how it should be, no matter what the results are, to that point, because I know sooner or later, the results, hopefully take way, and get them to the point to where they want to be out there, and as a player, whether it's hitting, whether it's defense, whether it's base running, whatever it is, you got to put the work in. That's your best chance of having success and getting better, is to put the work in.
When you were in the minor leagues, you're in the Yankees system. That's a historic franchise. You probably had to think a little bit about, hey, what would it be like to get to Yankee Stadium? And then they trade you. What did you know about St. Louis? What did you know about the Cardinals when that happened?
Oh, the uniform. Yeah, I see George Hendricks, George Hendricks with the birds. You watch the game, they have on a red turtleneck and the bird going across there. They had some of the nicest uniforms in baseball. And, man, then to be able to put that uniform on and be a part of it for so long is great, But coming up in that Yankees organization, it's, with Steinbrenner, what a guy, man. I mean, he was tough. But one thing he did, he took care of us, in the minor leagues. He took care of us, but he wanted to win everywhere. So we learned what it took. We learned how to play under pressure, because every year in the minor leagues we won because guys didn't move, and you look up there, you got Jackson, you got this guy, you got that. Ain't nobody going up there, So you just you learn that you just your product, and what is it, the coordinator, he had a meeting with us. He said, guys, I know that, you got these guys up here in front of you and that you don't see your way up here to the big leagues with us, but there's 28 other teams out there, 29. And all of a sudden a light went off, it's like, okay, so my job here is just to get better every day, try to get better every day. So it just, once I heard that, just everything just opens up. You don't just be like, you don't just see the pinstripe and get discouraged because you see who's up there.
So you go from the historic Yankees franchise to the Cardinal franchise. You get called up, and I'm wondering, did Whitey say to you, all right, kid, you're here for a couple of weeks, and we're sending you back. Did he tell you anything?
Oh, no.
You got here and stayed, but what did they say right away?
He really didn't say nothing. He set me here. I sat on the bench, and next thing I know, I'm pinch hitting against Mario Soto, and it's like, oh. And I'm sitting here watching the game, and he's grunting on every pitch, and he got a wonderful change-up, and Whitey put me in there to pinch hit, and I hit a ball pretty hard to shortstop, and I was like, okay. Kind of relaxed, and then next day I was in there. So Whitey don't mess around. He put you in the fire, quick. And same way with everybody else that came up. Same way they do now. They call you up, you pretty much going to get a chance to play.
And with Whitey, I bet he could get on guys, but I don't see him getting on you. Did he ever get after you?
He never had to. I never gave him a reason. I tried not to. I mean, I imagine he probably said a few curse words, some base running plays or, something, a mistake, or error. But I've never seen him do it, and that's one thing. Whitey, he pretty much seemed like he picked his teams, and he got good character. Then we had a bunch of veterans, so he didn't have to do the cussing. You got the veterans, Gene Tennis walking up and down here, looking at you, asking you how many outs it is. You got George Hendricks, you got Bruce Sutter, you got Darryl Porter, you got a lot of guys that's just like coaches and managers that's walking along the dugout so he can do his job, so they got on you. But like I say, I try to, I was taught early, like by my dad, we got taught a work ethic early. We got taught, he would always say, hey, leave a little early, in case you get a flat or something, leave a little early for work. All those things come into play, now, and it takes you through, and you see how valuable those lessons were.
Was it true that you were supposed to be at church on Sundays and Dad was up on the pulpit? You would sneak out. Is that true to go play baseball?
Yeah, kind of sneak out, but he was like he would count the money and stuff, and I would help him, and then we would sit up front of everybody, and I had to talk and say what Sunday school money went out. That was some of the hardest things I ever did. And so after a while, he would be tired because working all week, and he would kind of nap out. And I would ease on down by the door, and the pastor would look at me and and let me go. So, that he saw that I loved it, and I was willing to, if I was going to get whooped, I was just going to get whooped. That's how much I love baseball, and I think Pop saw that and kind of let me go after that.
So you loved baseball from an early age. Were you dreaming of being like a San Francisco Giant at that point? Or?
I was not. I just love baseball. Back growing up, during the different seasons, you play football in the recreation leagues, you play basketball, or during the summer you play a lot of baseball. We play a lot of fast pitch, and I just loved it. We just played, and I never thought about pro ball till my junior year. Then a scout started coming around. I seen them. They drafted a guy from our school, and I say, okay. So then the next year they start coming to see me, I guess, and then you start thinking, okay, Mike can do something here.
Along the way, did they ever try and change your swing? Any hitting coaches or managers, minor leagues at any level?
Nah, not when I started switch hitting. I started switch hitting at 19 years old and A-ball, high A-ball. So that was my first year, and I worked really hard. I took a lot of swings. I felt like I had 4 years to develop my skills to the point to where I can get a shot at a big league level, and I felt that I had to take as many swings left-handed as I did right-handed from Little League all the way up to this point, but I had to compress it in that short period of time to get to feel comfortable. And actually the first year I hit 250, I really ran 250. The next year, went home, got my hands stronger, hit curveballs. Next year made AA. But then I got hit, Tony Pena hit me in the crease of my ankle with a ball, and I couldn't tie my shoe, and they kept me playing. And I started going down. They sent me down to A-ball, Fort Lauderdale, second half, went in the manager's office, and I was so mad, I was so pissed, and it's not easy for me to get mad, but I was so pissed because of how it was done. I went in there, and he said, we talked. He said, I'm going to play you and put you lead off, do this here. I said, well, do I have the green light? He said, no. I said, well, what if I go and get throughout? $50. Say, perfect. Went out there, took off. I didn't care no more. Because I saw how it works, and hit 318 that second half there. Then I made the AA team again, and next year went home, worked out, did what I had to do, got stronger, hit 280 and 283 in AA. Next year hit 324 in AA. Next year big leagues. But I put a lot of work in, a lot of teamwork, man. Starting at 19, hitting on a side that you ain't never hit on, and to develop it to the point to where it's successful at a big league level is one of my biggest, thrills or biggest accomplishments. And sometimes I wonder if I had just stayed right-handed, you know, and been patient, you know, what type of player I would have been, you know, because I know I would have been I'd have had more power on that side, and it was more natural.
Willie McGee, our guest on the Kilcoyne Conversation. We had you on the Zoom during the pandemic. We had you and Ozzie on there. And Ozzie, you know, I said, didn't Willie live at your house? And Ozzie goes, Martin, he never left. How much is there some legend to that, or did you really live with Oz for a few years?
No, I lived with him for a year and a half.
Okay. He might have exaggerated.
Oh, he does. He does that well. He does. He's a great man. And
what was that like, him taking you in at that point? Because he was pretty established at that point.
He didn't see me. He didn't see me too much because I was upstairs, and he had like a little room way upstairs, so they didn't see me too much, you know, till we had to go or come in, you know, I get out the way, you know, but I probably overstayed my stay a little bit. But I mean, you know, what an opportunity, you know, to ride to work with this guy, with Oz, and talk baseball, life, talk about everything, you know. I mean, I was already knew how to play the game and already established that in the minor leagues, but coming here, you know, learning the ropes and the potholes and the, you know, everything, it makes your job easier when you got somebody that's been there. And then you know, to live right next to George Hendricks for a couple years after that and ride to the park with him, you know, what opportunity, man. What opportunities I've had. I've been very, very blessed to be around some great people and outstanding players.
So was 82 surreal? I mean, you're a rookie and you stay, you play great, fans love you almost immediately, and then you guys win the World Series. What was that moment? I know you're a quiet, shy guy, but was that unbelievably fun?
It was. It was not while you're in it because it's stressful, you know, because like now, you know, I tell people I played in the big leagues 18 years. I maybe slept good maybe 3 of those years every day, slept good. Other than that, I can imagine, I could tell you a lot of these guys don't sleep because it's the struggles, you know what I'm saying, the struggles. And 82, but it's just like unbelievable, man. But you don't know what you're into, you know, at that time, which is probably was the best thing. You don't know what you're into until you get in the playoffs in the World Series. Then you see these rows of reporters. Then after the season, you go out the country to Barbados and these countries, and the little school kids are pointing at you, you know, boom, boom, boom. Then it starts to hit you, the impact of playing in the World Series. You start to feel, you know, the impact of, whereas if I'd have felt that while I was playing in that, you know, I got caught up in all that, it might have shook you up a little bit.
So walking in here, I see Bob Costas leaving his hotel, and I'm thinking, we could be at Wrigley. Willie McGee's here, Bob's here. That game alone should be like one of the greatest games a player's ever had. But you also had the World Series game with 2 homers, and then the catch over the wall to Rob Gorman of the home run. Could you compare the two? Was one day, were you in the zone in both days? How would you compare? Because those are both monumental days in Cardinal history.
No, I wouldn't say you're in the zone. I would just say that, like I say, what do they say? Works without. I mean, you have to work at stuff, man. And everything I got, I felt like I deserved because I definitely put in the work, you know. And so, I don't know, man. It's hard to explain, but I was very fortunate. I learned a lot through my career, through the injuries, through the challenges, and through the ups and downs, and to have a few good years like that, a few great years like that, man, made it all worthwhile. All the work. I just wish I could have figured out how to keep it at that level, you know, more consistently, you know, and that's probably the mental part of it, you know. And to speak on that is because it gets so mental sometimes. People don't understand that the mental part is just as much, if not more, than the physical part, to the point to where Whitey one year took the averages off the scoreboard because he felt guys were, and we were. I'm not going to sit here and lie. It's there everywhere you go in there, it's paperwork with numbers. You look on the scoreboard, there's your numbers. And sometimes after a while, you get caught up in competing against yourself. You know, you're competing against that number up there instead of competing against the other team. And now they got psychologists, they got sports psychologists. We didn't have that. So it's like you're fighting against that. You're fighting again, you're internalizing it. And there's nobody really knows what's going on inside you. They can see what's going on physically, but they don't know what's going on mentally, you know. And so I've been through that. So now if I see a guy, you know, competing against itself. I can see it, and I got experience, so I don't know how not to do it, but I know what they're doing, And if I knew what they were doing and how to get out of it, I'd be doing this from a suite somewhere, making hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars now. But it's no answer, It's just you just got to fight through it. But he took them off, and he was right. He was smart. So that was. But then it's everywhere else you go, that stuff. But took it off so you don't have that distraction.
Whitey was unique. A lot of ideas that were original ideas. And then you played for Tony in Oakland and in St. Louis. Is there any comparison between the two? Very few played for both.
No, they're different. Every manager I had is totally different, from Roger Craig to Tony to Whitey. They've all been successful in their own ways, just like players. So, it's just like when I went to San Francisco, I didn't have the green light. But that's Roger Craig's style of doing it. He's not wrong. I had a choice to go somewhere else. That's not his fault. He's won like that, so I got to fit into that. I'm the player. He's the manager. Same way with Tony. I got to fit into their game style, not him adjust to me. Same way with Whitey. Same way with Ollie here. What does Ollie want? What does Ollie need me to do as a coach? What does he want me to do? How does he want this set up? Does he want no doubles? And you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whereas Schulte, Schulte is he's a heck of a manager, man. I mean, as far as detail and stuff like that. But he would every inning, 2 outs, runner on first. He played no doubles, But that's his way of doing it. Yeah. Now we don't play no doubles. We'll back them up a little bit depending on the hitter, So it's more of a different styles, but they're all good. And then you got Dusty Baker, Dusty Baker, who is probably the best person I've met, the best all-around person and manager, I would say, that I like, Now Whitey was, he could manage. He was ahead of everybody. He was just, but then he had the right players. Like I said, he had 3 or 4 veteran guys, but he was unbelievable. And he let you play. When you play with Whitey, it was like Little League. Once the game started, we out there just freelancing, but we competing. But like we get on first, we competing against a pitcher now trying to get to second or jump. We're constantly competing. We complete. If I don't get no hits on defense, I'm thinking ain't nobody else getting none on that team. Now, it's like, now you have to almost have, it's more detailed and more calculated, and more numbers oriented before you do certain things, So it's the game has changed, and time will tell if it's for the better, But I mean, that's this is what it is, and this is what we have to do, and I'm all in on it if that's what they want, They hired me, not me hiring them.
Did Tony ever bust your chops? You said Whitey didn't. With Tony, you were a veteran at that point.
Tony is different though. He
say that again.
Yeah, he's different. It'd be like spring training, right? And you're walking out to go. This is a spring training game, and you're walking out, and I'm like, Tony, how you doing today? I'll let you know at 1:00 or after the game, And I was like, okay, all right. So the next day I come in, I say Tony. I just say Tony. So he can't say, say that.
You didn't ask him how he's doing, right?
No, but little stuff like that. Tony, he was more. He kept you on edge.
Yeah.
Like you might have a day off, and you up 6 runs. And Troy Percival is pitching, and he calls me up to hit. I'd rather not have the day off.
Right.
If I'm a play, there wasn't no need to do that. But that's how he managed. He keeps you, and it worked for him.
Right.
Then you got, like I say, Roger Craig. He controlled everything. Pretty much. When to pitch out, he told guys when to do this, when to do that, when to do this. And, Whitey was a good communicator. His office was open. Dusty, a great communicator. His office was open. I could say that about them guys.
You got the red jacket. You're a Cardinal Hall of Famer. They talked for a while, some fans did, about retiring 51. They love you that much. What is the embrace of this city and this fan base meant? You seem overwhelmed maybe at times, but they've loved you for a long time. I mean, you say Willie McGee in this town, people start smiling. What has this connection meant to you?
It's more of a throwback to my mom and pops and my upbringing, I feel. and my values. You know, I'm not perfect, nobody is, but you know, I was, like I say, I was taught at an early age to work. I don't take myself too serious. I don't take what I do as making me any different from anybody else that's working a job wherever it is. It's a job. This is my job. This is what I do for a living. This is not who I am, you know, and I keep that perspective. And when I'm out there, I try to give the best. I try to prepare the best of my ability, and I try to do the best I can do. And I think the people appreciate that, and they see that, you know, and I think they honestly appreciate that. I think one of the other great things that I really cherished in my career was my last year was umpires, man. I had a couple umpires tell me, hey, man, it was a pleasure. You know, and that's like, whoa, that's big, you know, because I tried not to, you know, argue calls because of the fact that I know that they're human. I know that they don't make, that they make mistakes because I make mistakes. You know, I don't get a base hit on everybody. I don't swing it all strike. So I know he's not going to be perfect. So as long as it ain't personal, I might be hot, but I can't fault him. You know, it's just like Dinkinger, you know. Once you meet the guy, you understand that just an honest mistake, a big one, but it's just an honest mistake, which we all do, you know. And it's just in life, man. In life, like I pray, and you know, you just hope it. You know, the issues in life is just something that you can overcome. You hope it's something that doesn't happen in your life that you can't overcome. You know, you try to keep things simple, so if something do happen, you can overcome it.
What kind of dad is Willie McGee? Were you tough when they were little kids? Were you strict? Because your parents were kind of strict, right? Were you strict?
They were disciplined. We were disciplined, yeah. I had girls. I got all girls. Then I adopted a boy. So mainly my wife, she, bless her heart, she pretty much raised the girls, you know, until I retired, you know. But when I'm there during the summer and stuff, we played sports, and you know, I had daughters run track, do this here. So, you know, with this job, you're away a lot. So you know, you do what you can do, and it's like I told them, you know, it's like I didn't have anybody to tell me how to be a dad from way off, you know, from way off. But now I'm telling y'all what you can do. You've seen it. Now, when you have kids, if your job takes you away, you'll know what to do and what not to do, what you liked about what I did, what you didn't like about what we did and how we did it. And you'll be able to adjust that to your kids if you travel in life. That's the advantage you have. I didn't have that advantage. I didn't have nobody in pro ball or travel for a living, you know, to show me. Now, I provided, I made sure, and that's what a man was taught to do, you know, to work. And so, you know, when you're younger, you think you're doing that. You think you're doing your job pretty much. And, you know, now, but I call them every day. You know, the last few years, I call them every day, you know, each and every one of them.
And how old are they now?
My oldest is 40. My youngest is, 28, I think, 26?
Okay.
I'm not sure, but then my son is 21. So, you know, I'm raising them from here, but I think, you know, if I had to do over again, when I was a player, I would have called them every day, which I did. I called home, but I didn't talk to them individually every day. So I tell these guys, make sure y'all talk to your kids, you know, see where they're at and what they're doing every day. And I don't think it was as bad as I make it out to be, but I see it.
We all feel bad when we're away.
Yes,
yeah.
no doubt, because you realize, especially with girls, you know, you're not there, you know, to do the dad deal, you know, and teach them. But I'm trying to make up for all that lost time. And then I spent some years home, you know, after I retired. So
You could be like Tony. You'd say, I go home. They told me to go back. They didn't want me at home.
I tell you, man, when I retired, I went home and I'm thinking I'm going to come in now. I'm going to be dad, right? So I come in.
You got a routine already.
Yeah, no, and I learned, and I'm looking, and they walking by me like I'm a stranger. It's like, wait a minute, I'm trying to tell them something to do, and they looking at me like, who are you? You know, so I realized it's just like when you get traded. I realized I can't go in here and make friends. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to play ball and to work, and things will come to you. You know, you let it. I learned that about being traded. Just go in there, get your work in, speak, you know, be cordial, but do your job and let the right people come to you with time. You know, don't force it. Don't try to force it. And it's the same way with this. So I just sat back with my girl, and after a couple of weeks, you know, they start relaxing, start coming to you, you know, talking, and you know, and this and that, and you find where you fit in at.
Weird vibe, isn't it, when you feel like a stranger in your own home, at least for a little while. I'm wondering, too, did your parents get to see you succeed in baseball? Did they get to come to some games?
Yeah, they did. And then TV, they had cable then, so my dad, he would watch cowboy movies in the game. That's what he did, and pray, eat, sleep, and pray, and work, and watch baseball and watch cowboy movies. That's what he did. But a great man.
Clearly had an impact on you, and that's why fans love you so much. I don't know that you're going to be out and about, but when you were in town, do people come up to you? What's it like? What do you hear from fans when they see you in person?
Oh, they thank you and appreciate you and say, hey, man, they liked the game back there, the way we played and the way we carried ourselves, and the humbleness and just the way the person you are. That's mainly what they talk about. It really is, just the way you carried yourself, the way you went about your business, and I'm still conscious of that. I'm still conscious of how I treat people, how I deal with these players. When they struggle, it's like, man, just stay healthy, you work hard. And this is something else my experience told me, that the only year that I hit 250 something, I think it was after but I had felt my knee pop about 2 weeks into the season. I still stole a base and my knee felt like it just opened up. Just here pushed back too far and it felt like, and okay, so, man, that don't feel right. So I couldn't really set back. And then I told them, and boom, boom, we don't see nothing. Then it popped again before the All-Star break, and I never could set back, so I never got going. And the last 2 days of the season, we were in Chicago, and it was muddy, so I had to dig a hole in there to push off on, right? And I went down, man. I went to take off and just locked up on me, and I just went down. Nobody came out. I got up, took myself out, walked through there, went in the trainer's room, laid on the table. Nobody came in. Tito came down there, gave me a Tylenol because it started burning. And it's a long story, man. There's some long story. But that's
a Tylenol. That was it.
Oh, man.
That was medicine back then.
Yeah, pretty much, man. It pretty much was, So.
How about the greatest game you were a part of? Is it the Ozzie homer? Is it the Clark homer? They also had the Oquendo game. We had the Lawless. I mean, there were so many big swings.
I like that Jack Clark game, man. Yeah. I like. People don't understand that guy, man. That guy. I'll go to war with that guy. I mean, not war, but I will play with that dude any day. I mean, he came. People don't. The bat before that, if people were paying attention, Niedenfuhr struck him out. Niedenfuhr was a good pitcher, real good pitcher, and a good competitor. Threw one at the knee, one at the waist, and then one up high, and Jack swung through all of them, And Jack Compton, this might be a little exaggeration, but I'm not lying. You can look at. I looked at Jack, and it's like, man, if he gets another chance, you could just see, you could just he walking up and down the dial. If he gets another chance, we're in good shape, because you could just see he wanted it, and man, he got that chance, man, and pow. I mean, it's just like Contreras last night. It's like when they walked Goldie.
To get to him.
Yeah, I mean, in that situation, you got to do what you got to do, but that guy is a competitor, man. That guy, and I told somebody, I said, ooh, that gets his juices going. I mean, he still might not do nothing, but I take my chances. I mean, that guy, he competes, man. He competes.
And because 85 and 87 had great moments, signature moments, really, but because you guys didn't win, do you still look back fondly on those years?
I do. You go back and you look at things and you enjoy it a little bit. Like, again, it goes back to what all you put in. I mean, I got a lot to show for it. I got 2 fake hips. I got scars, man. I've had, in this game, I've had 2 broken jaws. I've had a dislocated shoulder, torn Achilles, dislocated ankle, dislocated hip, numerous strains, rib cage, hamstring, quad, 2 broke fingers. Man, I just, and you think back what you went through. And one of the times I broke my jaw, 2 weeks later, I went home 2 weeks later, I put a mask on and back out there playing, you know. It's just what you did, you know. And so that stuff, all that stuff starts to come back to you. You think about all you've been through and went through to get to where you are today, you know. And that stuff helps me a lot today. 'Cause I love to work, man. I love to work, and I know that that's the best chance for anybody to me to be, you know, to be the best they can be is to put the work in, you know.
Final thought. What if I told the young Willie McGee, leaving church on Sundays to go play ball, that he would end up with 2 batting titles, 3 Gold Gloves, 4 All-Star games, an MVP award, World Series title, Cardinal Hall of Famer? What would a young Willie have thought of all of those accomplishments?
This is what I say today. Jokingly, I say to God, I hear you talking, you know. I just tell them, I hear you talking, you know, they be talking noise and this and that. But I wouldn't, like I say, I would thank them, but I would go to work. I would work towards a goal of being consistent. I just wanted to be consistent. That was my goal every year, is just to be consistent, you know, at every phase, be consistent. And that kept it simple. I try to simplify things, you know, take anything I don't need out of my game, whether it's hitting. If I don't need this movement, I don't take it out. You know, if I ain't gonna be doing all this wiggling and all that, which some guys do, but that's what they do. And I try to find the simplest way to get things done in life and in baseball.
I got to say, you look like you could still play. I know you mentioned the surgeries. Are you about the same weight, maybe?
I doubt it. I'm 200 and some pounds. The last time, I think I'm a little smaller now because I've been training boxing.
Okay.
But this here, so I'm a little, probably about 215 probably now. But I played at 180, 190, yeah.
Well, I appreciate your time. Fans love hearing from Willie McGee. I know you don't like the spotlight, but whenever you get the chance to share your stories, they love hearing from you. So thank you for doing this.
My pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity.